They part my garments among them and cast lots upon my vesture. So all of this prophesied and fulfilled. And now you got Paul elaborating on how flesh and blood, Jesus saying to the disciples, look at me, touch me, I indeed is indeed I. Showing them his hands, the holes in his hands and his side is indeed Jesus. And flesh and bones, a spirit have not flesh and bones. So Paul expands upon this. So it's written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening spirit, where the first man, Adam, was a living soul, a human being, with a human body, with a earthly human body, meaning here. The last Adam, which is Jesus, was made a quickening spirit. Howbeit that was not first. Well, in other words, Jesus could make us alive spiritually. Jesus is a quickening spirit in that he can, ye that were dead in sins and trespasses. In other words, he have quickened, made you alive spiritually. Well, Jesus is can make you alive spiritually in this life. But at the time of the resurrection, you will also receive a new resurrected body, the same as Jesus has. Jesus being the second Adam. In Adam we all die, and in Jesus Christ we all live. And indeed, in Jesus Christ, he being the first fruits, we will eventually go on to receive a new resurrected body. This is why the true story of the resurrection is so important. And as it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul, so given a body with a soul, with a spirit. God breathed into the nostrils of Adam, and Adam became a living soul. So body and spirit, in other words, means soul. They in the spirit world are looking forward to being reunited with their body, their resurrected body. We're looking forward to shuffling off this body, and we're looking forward to the resurrection, having a resurrected body the same as Jesus has. And so it's written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam, which is Jesus, right, was made a quickening spirit. He could make us alive spiritually. Howbeit that was not first, which is spiritual. So Jesus is more given to give us a new heavenly spiritual body. Though it will be the same body, it will be a resurrected body and more of a spiritual body. Howbeit that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural. So we had a natural body as we inherited through the lineage of Adam. All of us come out of Adam, so to speak. Howbeit that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and afterward that which is spiritual. So the resurrected body, though it be, you will look the same and be the same, it will be a new body, a resurrected body, and a kind of a spiritual body, so to speak. Jesus saying to them, a spirit have not flesh and bones. He didn't say flesh and blood. Well, flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God. The first man, Adam, is of the earth, earthly. The second man is the Lord from heaven. As is the earthly, such are they that are earthly. Well, we all have an earthly body presently. And as is the heavenly, such are they that are also heavenly. We're going to go on, in other words, to have a heavenly body. A body like Jesus's body, a heavenly body. And as we're born the image of the earthly, which we now do, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly. So the image of the heavenly is Jesus. Jesus appearing to these disciples and appearing and disappearing at will and reappearing in a room, though the doors be shut and there be walls and a ceiling and a floor. Jesus suddenly crossing from the other dimension into this dimension and appearing to the disciples, and they, of course, immediately feeling fear and shock and terror even, I imagine. But Jesus saying, touch me, feel me, it is I. A spirit have not flesh and bones, as ye see me have. He didn't say flesh and blood. And as we are born the image of the earthly, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly. Now here's Paul. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood. Now here we are now flesh and blood. The life of the body, the life of the flesh is in the blood. Take away the blood, and of course we die. Everything we eat goes into the blood, and the blood nourishes the body. Not so with your new resurrected body. The life of your flesh, so to speak, your new body, will no longer be in the blood. Flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God. You won't be able to move around in the kingdom of God. In other words, passing from one dimension to another in your present earthly body. You will need a resurrected body, a body that has flesh and bones, it would appear, a spiritual body, a heavenly body, a new body, an incorruptible body. This mortal shall put on immortality, he goes on to say, and this corruptible will put on incorruption. So your new body being the same as Jesus' body. So as we're born the image of the earthly, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly. The image of the heavenly is Jesus. Jesus appearing to his disciples to show him that he's now in his heavenly body, the very body that we're also going to one day move around in, crossing from one dimension to another in, as much the same as Jesus did and still does to this day. And as we're born the image of the earthly, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God. In other words, you can't move around in the kingdom of God. Neither does corruption inherit incorruption. It's all in your new body would be incorruptible. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not sleep, but we shall all be changed. We're all going to be changed.